John Stoker. John is CEO and founder of DialogueWORKS, a leading provider of real talk, a best-selling solution for creating real conversations for results. John's also the author of the acclaimed book, Overcoming Fake Talk, and its solutions have helped thousands of organizations and countless individuals acquire the skills to talk with anyone, anytime, and about anything. So, John, take it away.
Thanks, Brett. Let's begin today by talking a little bit about kind of what the trends are for 2017. In fact, any of you who are listening on, I'd really be interested in hearing kind of what's going on in your organization. If you want to chat me a note in the little chat box that's down there in the lower right, that'd be fantastic. But here's kind of some of the things we've been seeing. Professional development seems to really be in flux in terms of what would be the best strategy. How do we do it shorter? How do we do it quicker? Do we do it online? Do we do it in person? It's a question people continue to ask. About 2 years ago, we were looking at doing something online, and then I met with the executives of Wilson Learning, and I was a little shocked. And they told me, gosh, you know, we don't do online stuff. We found in our research that 93% of people never finish an online course, which didn't make me very happy. In addition to that, there's more and more millennials who are kind of coming into the work population, and many of them, because of their background in electronics, are not very good at holding one-on-one conversations. So there's an increased opportunity there. And then, you know, it's the same kind of the age-old question, getting executive agreement and alignment around budget allocation and how are we going to do professional development, how are we going to pay for it, will it really make a difference? If you look at that question at the top, would you agree that the more things change, the more they stay the same? Everybody seems to be changing, and yet the whole challenge around holding difficult conversations or being able to talk about what matters most continues to be a challenge I believe that everybody has. So what might be impossible, I want you to know now is possible. Real talk, we've just spent the last 6 months working over the content of the course, and it's much easier now to deliver. And that's great because there's opportunities for a whole new generation of learners to be supported in their learning endeavors and to improve their leadership development and their professional skills. And we believe that we're offering a very cost-efficient approach for creating executive alignment with what organizations actually want to spend and the results that they get. So what's kind of the delivery? Well, we've written the course so that in reality you could teach part of it, half of it, in one day in terms around core content, and then come back a week later, 3 to 6 months later, and teach the second day. That way you continue to be able to, if you will, individualize and socialize the learning experience with people who are having a kind of a challenging situation in a particular organization's culture. We also have moved to a virtual trainer certification for those people who are trained in other products. However, we would highly recommend that you complete a workshop either in an open enrollment or an on-site kind of an experience, and then prepare and present content to one of our expert facilitators via video or phone conference. If you've been previously certified in a different program, for example, like fierce conversations or crucial conversations or difficult conversations, then we'd actually want to do if you want a virtual certification, given that you've had experience teaching dialogue or real talk before. So there's an opportunity to get started and do some teach back over the net and not have to do it in person. So we've improved the leaders' materials for increased efficiency. And the content has been more focused around key discussion items along with facilitation tips, which allows the prep time can be between 3 to 4 hours for the initial workshop. So if you can see those pages below, which I assume you can, what we've really done is we've put the presentation into the slides. There are still trainer tips in the material so that you can kind of prepare in that way. But at the same time, what we've also done is integrated all the video recordings that we use, the segments that demonstrate good and poor examples of communication, into the slide presentation itself. And at the same time, we've shot a number of author videos where certain key or challenging points that people may struggle to learn are already embedded in the presentation. So a facilitator can either choose to view those for his audience and then answer questions, or simply teach it themselves. Some of the changes we've made. We've basically rolled all the content into a model that's totally integrative. For example, if you look at the bottom of the slide, you can see the red line there. We really believe that if you want dialogue, or real talk is a choice. And that if you cross the line or go above the line, then you're placing yourself in a position to hold a conversation that gets results, improves the relationship, and creates respect. So the yellow circle around the outside, you can see that results, respect, and relationship. Everybody talks about wanting to hold the difficult conversation to get results, but they often don't deal with respect and relationship. And the reason the arrows run as they do, we really believe you can't talk about results without also not talking about respect and relationship. So the whole purpose of the Real Talk training, quite frankly, is not only to get results, but to communicate and interact with others in such a way that respect is created and the relationship is improved. Inside that, you'll notice there's a blue ring. Kind of call that the knowledge ring. There's certain things you got to know. So notice where it says choose to be conscious in that upper right-hand quadrant. That's about awareness. You want to learn to be aware of what's going on in a conversation dynamically, to be able to manage it. Do to know is there's certain models we'd like you to know that if you'll follow them, and 4 easy steps, it'll make the conversation go smoother and be very easy to execute. Then there's a section on being prepared, where it says prepare or beware there. That there's just a few simple things you need to do to be prepared to hold a potentially difficult conversation. And then reflections is about interaction styles, the styles that people bring. So there's things to know about awareness, about knowledge, about preparation, and style. The red ring inside are the 4 skills. We call this kind of the action ring. And so the skills of real conversations, as you probably gathered, is recognizing and suspending, expressing ourselves, how do we ask questions, and do we listen and attend. And the diamond in the center is the process that we use for holding any difficult conversation. So we've simplified the model, provide easier point of entry, and reminders of key concepts, and encapsulated major levers for improving your communications that basically will enhance the relationship and positively impact your results. As I said earlier, we've integrated new video. So what we've done in the video, if you look at the little frame beneath it, we put the setup for the video in the slide to make it easy for a presenter to just say, hey, you know, you can see we're gonna notice how respect, relationships, and results are impacted as Tanya and Lisa talk about a scheduling change. You show the video. And then the author videos, you can see they're differentiated. Also describes certain things around the model or a particular difficult concept. So all the videos are actually embedded in the presentation with automatic cueing for play and pause control. You can choose to show the video or you just click past it. You don't click on it. So it's pretty smooth in terms of how it's laid out and easy to use. So we really believe in engaging our audience. And around doing that, one of the things that we're doing is basically, we've just said, integrated the video with expert overviews and key concepts, which you can either play or not. We've changed the number of the exercises to continue to create greater self-awareness around things that people are working on or need to work on, and at the same time given opportunities for individual action planning of things that people need to work on. There's a self-assessment, obviously, that comes with it as pre-work, so that people come in with kind of a notion of where they should improve or what they should do differently that will help to focus their learning during the course of the course. Now, obviously, there's opportunities for personal application to individual challenges that people are experiencing and group interaction, so people get a chance to actually listen and learn, from one another. So continue to engage audience, very important to us. We built that into the presentation. So what do participants get? We've actually built kind of a system, but let me kind of go through the first two bullets, then we'll talk about follow-up support. So we typically send out a self-assessment as pre-work before a course would begin, where a person will identify a potentially difficult conversation that they're either holding not very well or avoiding altogether. So they come with something in mind and they take a self-assessment that helps to identify perhaps where they need to spend some attention in terms of what they're trying to do. When participants come to the class, they bring that with them. They get a copy of my book, Overcoming Fake Talk, and a participant manual. And we've also created some tool cards, which are fun from the perspective of people being able to use them after the class to cue themselves and to remind themselves on certain skills that they've learned that they could apply and use. We've also created what we call the Real Talk audio library that we give to participants on a thumb drive. This is about 8 hours of audio that deal with the 8 principles of Real Talk. There are stories that are told that are not in the course or the book, and there are even some additional skills that are not in the course or the book. So we felt like we wanted to continue to help people to develop their skills after the course was over. So we did that by reviewing the concepts that they learned in the course and giving them other application. Then there's our follow-on support. We have an application we call Cues and Do's. Cues and Do's are an email series that participants get after the course is over. They can either sign up during the course if they want to their company email or to a personal email, and they get one of those every other week for 24 weeks. See a little example of one right there in the slide. So what they come with is the list of principle of something that they learned in the course, and then there's a cue section, some things that they ought to look for, certain behaviors that should cue them, that they need to use a particular skill. And then there are do's, some actual suggestions of some things that a person might do to address a particular cueing challenge. There's also an app, the Real Talk app, which is available both on the iPhone and on Android, that people download to their phone. And what's kind of fun about it is they can carry it with them, and on the fly or sitting at lunch or on the tram or the light rail could actually pull it up and create a conversation which they could save and then refer to in preparation for a conversation they need to hold. Then there's an optional 360-degree profile that's available. The way that this works, and a number of organizations have used it during the last 2 years, is they'll do the 360-degree profile first. People will bring those profiles to the training, and then we'll debrief on those. What's cool about the 360-degree profile, it's also built in together with what we call the phone coach or mini surveys. So what would happen is, let's say somebody took the profile, they take the class. During the class, they can identify up to 3 people that can lead them voicemail messages of encouragement that would call whatever phone they identified at a time that they identified. And so maybe your cell phone rings and there's a call with a coaching message from somebody that you've identified, encouraging you to keep working on your skill. Those come weekly. And then the mini surveys occur at 3, 6, and 9 months after the training, where an individual can select up to 3 questions they want to receive feedback on from the same group that they initially surveyed. A person can go in and change the questions that they use in the survey and can add other people to take those mini surveys, and the individual gets feedback on the 3 questions, and there's also opportunity for written comments. So you can see what we've done is tried to build a cadre of tools that will not only help people to learn the skills that we're teaching so they can hold these difficult conversations, but at the same time reinforce the things that they've learned. So, you know, we talk about why real talk. We have a simplified model for holding difficult conversations. It's a 4-step process that can be learned and used in any conversation that a person is finding themselves in immediately. In fact, this next book I'm working on is called 8 Conversations Every Leader Ought to Know How to Hold. And we just use that simple 4-step process to address a number of different kinds of situations, be it change or coaching or conflict resolution or reducing defensiveness. We've added some skills for improving one's emotional intelligence, which seems to be the hot topic, and for conflict resolution. So we felt like we couldn't really offer a course in communications without linking to emotional intelligence and giving people some skills to improve that aspect of their interactions with others and how to solve a conflict more successfully. We believe that we're economical in terms of our delivery. There's obviously, in terms of participant costs, for at least a third cheaper than the competition. And there's a virtual certification process so that you can get certified and do it yourself delivery. So our question is, I guess, is, you know, how can we serve you? You'll notice on this slide there's an email you could contact us, and we're going to be in touch anyway. But I just want you to know that I'm kind of prepared to make an offer today that may be unheard of. We really want your business. And so if you've certified in fierce conversations or crucial conversations or productive conversations or difficult conversations, what we'd really be willing to do is give you a $99 credit per participant toolkit, up to 100 of those kits. If that's something that's of interest to you, we'd really love to visit with you. Brett, anything you want to add? Well, I don't know where Brett went, but we have an upcoming event that you might be interested in. We're holding a Real Talk workshop in the Salt Lake City area on October the 26th through the 27th, with a certification the day after. And obviously virtual certifications are available and scheduled regularly if you'll contact us for availability.